The Forest Friends, Episode 4, Preparations and Promises.
Tommy crept back home through the loose fence board, his mind racing with thoughts of the adventure ahead. He had just enough time to pack and return to the twisted tree before sunset. In his room, he grabbed his school backpack, quickly dumping out his books and pencils.
"What would you take on a magical quest?"
He whispered to himself, scanning his room. Meanwhile, Grace was having a much harder time at her grandmother's cottage. The old forest keeper was in her herb garden, making it tricky to sneak inside for supplies. Meanwhile, Grace was having a much harder time at her grandmother's cottage. The old forest keeper was in her herb garden, making it tricky to sneak inside for supplies.
"Grace, dear?"
Her grandmother called just as she was reaching for the never-ending torch on the shelf.
"Could you come help me with these moonflowers?"
Grace's heart thumped. She grabbed the torch and a small leather pouch of her grandmother's special trail mix, the kind that gave you energy for hours. As she turned to leave, her eyes fell on the old family map hanging on the wall, the one that showed all the secret paths through Whispering Woods, including the route to Mount Mist Peak. She carefully took it down and rolled it up.
"Coming, Gran!"
she called, tucking everything into her worn canvas bag. The guilt of deceiving her grandmother weighed heavy in her chest, but the forest needed them. Grunt's preparation was simpler. He bounded through the forest, collecting the ripest blackberries and the sweetest wild strawberries, storing them carefully in a basket he'd woven from flexible young branches. He also brought his second favorite rock, just in case. As the sun began to sink, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the four friends regrouped at the twisted tree. Sparkle Twig inspected their supplies, nodding approvingly.
"Good thinking, all of you,"
she said.
"But before we leave, there's something important you need to know about the Shadow Collector's magic."
She fluttered down to a patch of moss and drew a pattern with her sparkly trail.
The stolen shadows aren't just locked away, they're guarded by shadow creatures. To free a shadow, you must solve its riddle or complete its challenge. Get it wrong,
She paused dramatically.
and you might become a shadow yourself.
Tommy gulped.
"Is that why we need to work together?"
Exactly.
Sparkle Twig smiled.
Each of you brings something special. Grace's knowledge, Grunt's strength, your creativity, Tommy, and my magic to light the way.
Just then, they heard a distant call. Tommy's mother's voice carried on the evening breeze, calling him for dinner.
"We have to go now."
Grace said urgently, unfolding her grandmother's map.
"Look, there's a path through Firefly Valley that could get us to the base of Mount Mist Peak by midnight."
But that path goes right through Spider Silk Gorge.
Sparkle Twig cautioned, pointing to a shadowy area on the map. Grunt shuddered.
"Spiders?"
"We can do it.
Tommy said firmly, even as his mother's calls grew louder.
We have to."
Grace quickly traced their route on the map with her finger.
"If we follow Moonstone Creek, then cut through the Valley of Whispers."
"Wait,
Tommy interrupted, looking at his new friends seriously.
should we make a pact? A proper promise to stick together no matter what?"
Grunt nodded enthusiastically, and they all joined hands again in a circle.
"I promise to be brave."
Tommy began.
"I promise to lead us true."
Grace added.
"I promise to protect my friends."
Grunt said solemnly, his voice surprisingly steady.
"And I promise to keep hope alive."
Sparkle Twig finished, her glow brightening. As they broke apart, a cool wind swept through the trees, and somewhere in the distance they heard the beat of massive wings. The Shadow Collector was on the move again.
"This way."
Grace whispered, pointing to a narrow path that glowed faintly in the gathering dusk.
"And stay close together."
Tommy took one last look in the direction of his home, then turned to follow his friends into the deepening shadows of Whispering Woods. Their real adventure was about to begin.
To be continued.